Hi, it's bright and early here in the weight room, and I'm going to show you a full body mobility routine. Most people, and athletes are included, lack sufficient mobility in key areas of their body. This is due to lack of movement and also the funky positions we put ourselves in during the day, like sitting down at an office job or looking down at our phone all the time. Incorporating a mobility routine in your daily exercise regimen will give you a lot of rewards, like recovering faster from intense exercise, injury prevention. Obviously, if it's mobility, we're going to have better range of motion. It's going to lower our risk of injuries while we're playing whatever activity we're playing. And it's also going to help with our relaxation, believe it or not. In our disc golf form, we'll actually be able to get ourselves into better positioning when we are playing our game. There's really 4 key areas where we want to really focus and work our mobility. And those are our shoulders, our thoracic spine, our hips, and our ankles. I'm going to show you a full body routine anyways, working more than that. That way, if you have mobility issues in some other areas, you can use a couple of these exercises to help you out. Mobility, flexibility, and stability are often used interchangeably, but they're a little bit different. So an easy way to explain it, mobility is actively working to improve the range of motion in our joints, whereas flexibility is working on lengthening our muscles. Mobility is more dynamic or active, and flexibility is more passive. Stability is the ability to maintain control of a joint movement or positioning. You can really fall down the rabbit hole with all these things, including flexibility, talking about the 5 principles of flexibility and the 3 types of flexibility. But we like to keep it as simple as possible here. So we're not going to dive into that. I'm just going to show you the mobility routine and talk through it as I go. It's normal to have some soreness, some ouchies, and things of that nature whenever you're going through these exercises. The important points are to make sure you're going slow and controlled. And also, if you have trouble doing the movement, you can adapt the movement a little bit for what you can do. We want to just improve our range of motion in our joints with this mobility routine. Working on mobility doesn't take a long time. Most of this is some short repetitions, and this routine probably will take you about 20 minutes. The way I do it, some days I do the full body mobility routine. Other days I sprinkle in these exercises throughout my workout, so you can really be creative with how you want to do your mobility routines. I'm going to switch to voiceover as I talk through these exercises and give you a couple of coaching tips. All right, let's start off this mobility routine with some neck mobility. I call these ear raises because that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to pretend like we have a string attached to each ear. Just try to lift that ear up as high as it can go. I know it looks like I'm turning my head from side to side, but that's not what's happening. A couple of coaching points here. We want to maintain great posture and also not move our shoulders at all. Next, we're just going to move our neck up and down in the full range of motion. And when I get to the top, I'm really concentrating on getting my chin out, forward, and up to really get that stretch in the upward part of my neck. This seems simple, but if you're maintaining your posture and not moving your shoulders, it's a great challenge. Third activity I'm going to show you is neck turns. You'll see me over-exaggerating, sticking my chin out and then tucking my chin straight back to get my neck in great position before I turn right to left and getting as much turn out of my neck as I possibly can. Typically, I pick 2 of these activities and do 1 or 2 sets of 10 when I first wake up in the morning. Okay, now we're moving to shoulder mobility with some shoulder angels. I've seen this on the channel before. We're going to create this movement with our shoulder blades, starting like we're going to get arrested with some handcuffs on, keeping our thumbs always pointing up and keeping our arms parallel to the ground. If you're just starting out, I would do 1 set of 5 and work your way up to 1 or 2 sets of 10 of these. These really work great. If you notice, I'm not using my lower back or neck to create this movement at all. It's all in my shoulders and shoulder blades. Oftentimes, stability and mobility go together. This is an exact example, the Y lift right here. Once again, not using my lower back or my neck to create this movement. It's all in my shoulder blades, working on our scapular, not only mobility, but also our stability and our T-spine mobility and stability as well. You can also use an implement like a PVC pipe for a greater challenge. Once again, notice my motion is coming from my shoulder blades, not my wrist, neck, or lower back. If you've got the shoulder angels down, you can use this advanced movement. I'm going to lift the PVC pipe up using my shoulder blades
keeping that PVC pipe parallel to the ground and bring it back over my head, really working on that shoulder, not only mobility, but also stability. Once again, it's really difficult to get things without working mobility and stability together. Okay, we're gonna move to the T-spine here. Here we have some cat and cows. Notice I'm getting the movement in the middle upper part of my back, really just curling my body upwards like I've got a string in the middle part of my back, and back downwards, getting as much movement in there as possible. This is a great beginning movement if you're just starting out. Here's T-spine with a foam roller. We're gonna put the foam roller just under our shoulder blades, keeping our back straight and getting our movement straight back with our hands on our head, using only the middle portion of our back. We're not gonna create this movement in the lower portion of our back. Advanced workout exercise with our foam roller for T-spines, to take a medicine ball where your hands are, and as you come up, throw it against the wall. Okay, if you don't have or don't like the foam roller, here's T-spine extensions with a bench. Just gonna have our elbows on that bench, keeping our lower back straight. It's a good tip to turn our hips forward a little bit as we're coming down, just so we don't create this movement and arch our lower back. We wanna keep that perfectly straight and feel that stretch in between our shoulder blades. There's a couple different ways we can do this. Here's with my hands. Now you can have a PVC pipe. Notice I'm holding it a little bit in a W position. That's gonna give us a great stretch. If you notice here, I'm way less flexible using this than I am with just my hands, so that's an alternative. Here's another T-spine, the open book. Notice my feet are both at 90 degrees, and I'm just using this movement to really work on opening up my chest and T-spine. I'm gonna show you a bunch of different T-spine activities because they're really beneficial for rotational athletes like a disc golfer. Important points for this is maintaining a great posture and getting that movement once again through our T-spine and keeping our hips parallel. Also, we want to make sure we always work both sides of our body, not just one side. Now we're moving on to thoracic wall circles. I'm showing the easy way with my knee that's up furthest away from the wall. If you want a better challenge, you'll move your inside knee closest to the wall in the up position. That'll give you a little bit better stretch. Here's a more advanced wall circle. I'm using my elbow to create the circle now and bringing the elbow all the way down to my knee, getting that extra stretch and extra challenge. Also, the knee that's closest to the wall is up this time, providing extra challenge. If you want to start an easy way, you would just flip-flop your knees. Now that you have plenty of choices for thoracic mobility, here's one for hip mobility. These are called 90-90s. We want our legs at a 90-degree angle, and then we're gonna windshield wiper our knees back and forth while maintaining good posture. You can also add a little stretch at the end of that to enhance your exercise. And if you can't do this exercise itself, you can modify this exercise by leaning back and using your hands to stabilize your posture as you're working your legs back and forth in that windshield wiper position. If the 90-90s are a little bit too much for you, you can start with hip cars. You're gonna get yourself on all fours with good back posture and just work your hip in a circle. You can go backwards or forwards, doesn't really matter. I like to mix it up and do both. You can also add a little bit of a challenge by going on a wall and making sure our arms do not leave the wall, or we change our back posture as we are doing our hip cars here. This is a little bit more challenging than doing it on the ground, so I'd suggest you go from the ground to the wall. Once again, I like to go back and forth, forwards and backwards with my cars. Next, we have an elevated split squat. If you've ever watched any of Knees Over Toes guy, this is one of his exercises. It's a great activity to get some mobility in your knees. Notice this is one of the lead-ups. I'm not there quite yet to get all the way down on the ground. If you've got the mobility in your knees, you can do this from the ground. I'm doing it on an elevated surface to help balance myself. If you notice my back foot, I'm balancing on my back foot and not letting my knee hit the ground, and taking my knee through the full range of motion and trying to get my knees over my toes, really get motion into that joint while remaining balanced. If you can't get this movement down, you can go a little higher with your front foot, or you can hold on to the weight rack to help you remain balanced. Here's a full deep squat.
with assistance. This is how we should start these deep squats. This will get some great mobility in our hips, knees, and our ankles all together. You'll feel some stretching, maybe some popping and cracking on doing this, but this is a great lead up to our goblet squat, which is a phenomenal exercise for all athletes to improve strength and mobility. Once again, keeping that good posture, I'm just holding it down at the bottom, making sure I feel all those muscles, and then I get a little extra ankle mobility. I'm rocking back and forth, really testing the flexibility of my ankles. Here's assisted with a pole, our PVC pipe again. Once again, going through that full range of motion, now getting rid of that pole. Get out of here, pole. Now doing the unassisted version. And once again, rocking back and forth when I do a couple of reps. Sooner or later, I'll do there we go, rocking back and forth with the ankles, really working on that ankle mobility as well. And finally, we're gonna do one of my weaknesses, ankle mobility. We're just gonna work ankle circles. You can do both ways, counterclockwise and clockwise. You can see I'm really moving my leg. My leg should be steady, and our ankle should be the only one that's moving. But my flexibility is pretty weak there, and my mobility is pretty weak there, so that's something I'm actively working on improving. And then our final piece of mobility, our toe raises. There's a ton of mobility exercises you can do with your feet, and something you should work on every day. I'm going to do a full video on foot and ankle health because I just hurt my foot the other day. So now that I think about it, I know a lot of people have that problem, so I'm going to put something together for us. A lot of times the shoes that we wear crunch our toes together, and we want to be able to spread them out. I don't know why I'm putting my sock back on. I'm going to be doing another set on that side, but oh well. It's early in the morning. Sometimes I can't think. Once again, you'll discover when you start doing things on both sides of your body, mobility is better on one side than the other. And that's why we do both sides, so we can get it equaled out, and that effects will really ramp up your athleticism and pain-free mobility on both sides of your body. You'll be really surprised how quickly you will improve and feel better when you start doing a mobility routine. And again, it doesn't have to take a long period of time. Pick one or two of these from each part of your body and just wrap out the sets. Start off with 5, then work to 10. Once again, move into the toe extensions on my left foot now. And this is kind of the same thing. My right toe moves really well, but the left foot has a lot of problems. So it's something I'm actively working on improving. And you'll find areas too that you find have very tough mobility, and we just need to work on them and get them better. And that's our routine. All right, that's all I've got for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. A couple of things to keep in mind. Remember to build yourself up. 1 set of 5, and then work yourself up to maybe 2 sets of 10. You'll also discover some muscles you've never had and feel some snap, crackle, and pops, and maybe experience some soreness the next day. Those are completely natural. Stick with it. It's all about improving what you've got. I know it's a huge challenge for me, but I've experienced some great improvements, and you will discover improvements in your disc golf game as well. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe this, and let me know in the comments which activity you enjoyed the best, and also let me know what you'd like to break down next. I think I'm going to be on the course for the next couple of videos. Until next time.